Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. This is the start of our first Monday morning motivational series. We will be doing this every Monday. I encourage you to join the Mondays that you can. It's only going to be about 15-20 minutes, sometimes not even that long. And if you do miss a Monday morning motivation, I do encourage you to watch it when you can or whenever you need it. Sometimes you may need to watch it more than once if you're needing something. A couple housekeeping items that I would like us to have ready for our Monday morning motivations. I would like everyone to go ahead and get a notebook. Doesn't have to be fancy. This is mine, that you will use for our Monday morning motivation or your manifestations only. Okay. You won't use it to take notes when you're on the phone. You're not writing anything down about deals. You are simply using it for our Monday mornings or to write gratitude lists or motivation or manifestations. So the first thing that we're going to do to start off today is say something that we are grateful for or thankful for. Now, when there are people joining us, we will do it live. I will also allow time, a pause for a few seconds for you to do it at home if you are watching later. Please participate. If I ask you to take a moment and say something out loud, please do so. These are designed to make a difference in your mindset. So I'm going to start out today and say that it is a beautiful day. I am grateful that I woke up this morning having a good night's rest and feeling a lot better. I have been dealing with a really bad cold, and you can probably hear it now. But I feel much better than I had been the previous few days or weeks. So I am super grateful for that. Now we will allow a minute for all of you watching to say out loud something that you are grateful for. Okay, that's wonderful. Now you are going to notice in the background, I am going to be playing something that we will talk about probably next week at our Monday morning motivation meetings. I have to, like, our MMM meetings. I don't know. I got to think of something else to call it. And it's just going to be in the background. And this will help raise our vibration. Okay. Okay, so today we are going to first talk about what I want you to do with these notebooks. Now, let's talk about manifestations and gratitude lists. Our thoughts, what you focus on, what you feel. You can have anything in life. I know that you have heard me say this a million times, and I know that some of you, this does not come naturally to you. This may seem like hippy dippy stuff, and I understand that. For many years, it did to me as well. None of this came naturally to me, okay? But I'm going to ask that you keep an open mind and that you participate, okay? All you have to do is participate. You don't even have to believe in it yet. That will come as you participate, okay? So the first thing that I want you to think about is who you want to become, what you want your identity to be, what you want in your life, what things you want to be true. If time was not a factor, if your health was not a factor, if your attitude was not a factor, if money was not a factor, what kinds of things do you want in your life to be true? Right? What kind of things do you want in your life to be true? So I'm going to give you an example of what that may be. I'm going to read to you some that I have had in the past, right? Now, this can be personal, this can be business, but I want you to think about who you want to be and what things you want to be true. It could be, I have an extremely happy and fulfilling marriage. I am a top, oops, I muted there for a second. I am a top agent in my industry, netting over $20,000 a month, right? Could be something like that. It could be something like, I have traveled all over the world and met amazing people. Remember, this does not have to be true now. Who do you want to be? I am retired and have plenty of money to live an amazing life at whatever age that is. I have a real estate team in Wisconsin, New Orleans, and South Carolina, right? Whatever it is.
We're going to do that. We'll do that today.
That you want, okay? So I want you in that notebook to write those things down today. I'm going to give you, now, I know that I didn't warn any of you to bring a notebook, so you may not have it now, but I'm going to go, and again, I want you guys to get a dedicated notebook for our Monday morning meetings. But right now, just grab a sheet of paper, grab anything that is close to you, and I'm going to give you a couple minutes to write at least 5 things down, 5 affirmations down that you want to be true. They don't have to be huge. Whatever is important at this time, what you will find is as we start doing this, those affirmations will come true. And then you can have another affirmation, a bigger dream, a bigger goal. Right now, it might just simply be, I can afford health insurance. I have a reliable vehicle. Paying bills is not stressful to me. It doesn't have to be something crazy like I've traveled all over the world. It can. It depends where you are in life right now. So I'm going to give everyone about 3 to 5 minutes to write at least 5 affirmations down. And again, if this does not come naturally to you, I get it. I ask that you just do it anyway. Okay, so grab a piece of paper, write 5 things down, 5 affirmations down. Let's do it together. If you're watching this later, do it now, pause, whatever you got to do. No affirmation is too small. No affirmation is too big. Okay. I'm going to give everyone about 2 more minutes to finish your 5 affirmations. If you're struggling, think about what you're struggling with in life. Are you struggling as a parent right now with a relationship with your child? It could be something like, I have an amazing relationship with my teenage son that comes easily. Whatever it is that you want to be true. I easily close at least 3 real estate deals a month. I easily sold my car that I've been trying to sell. I have met the man or woman of my dreams and am happily in a relationship. Whatever you're struggling with, think of those things. We'll give you 1 more minute. Okay, I'm going to have you stop. If you are not finished or you're really struggling with this exercise and want more time afterwards or tonight, that's fine. You can sit down and do this later. Try to do it at a time though where you can really concentrate and you're alone. Okay, so maybe right before bed, maybe not necessarily right in the middle of the day, unless you can find some time. Okay, so we have at least 5 affirmations down. What I want you to do is really think about those and choose the most pressing one. If you had to rate these from most important to, I don't want to say least important, they're all important, but if you had to rate them from most important to least important, which one would be most important to you? And then I want you to go ahead and circle that. Okay. Now what I want you to do, and what I want you to do every morning when you start your day, is just like we did, think of something that you're grateful for. And I want you to write down that affirmation in that notebook that's going to be dedicated to your mindset only. I want you to write that down 3 times. We'll start today. If you have picked one, if you finish the exercise of writing 5 down, go ahead in your notebook and write it down 3 times. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, now that you wrote those 3 things down, or that one thing down 3 times, I want you to envision in your head what that looks like. Okay, what does that look like? For example, if I'm going to share with you kind of what mine is. Okay, it has to do with how I feel about myself in my field and netting a certain amount of money a month. Okay, and that paying bills is stress-free, that kind of thing. So if I'm envisioning what that looks like to me, I want you to think of 3 things and jot them down under those 3 things you wrote. For example, mine, when I envision that, full whiteboard comes to mind. What does that mean? In my office, I have a whiteboard of all of our team's deals. I want to envision that full, right? To achieve that affirmation, how do I see that? Well, one of the things I see is a full whiteboard. So I'm going to write that down. How else do I envision that? I envision that as an excited team, a pumped up team celebrating together, right? So I'm going to write excitement within our team. How else do I envision that? I envision that being stress-free as I lay down to go to bed at night, not worried about what I have to deal with the next day or what didn't go right that day. Stress-free as I lay down to bed. And then last thing before you finish, and now this has taken a little bit of time because we're talking about it, but I do this every morning. I want you to do this every morning, and it literally can take 5 minutes or it can take 30. It depends how much time and effort and thought and really gratitude you're putting into it. And sometimes I get up early and I meditate by myself and I think of these things and I really feel it for like 15-20 minutes. And sometimes I wake up late and I rush and I jot it all down. That's okay too. Okay. So the last thing you're going to write is what we started this with is what are you grateful for today? One thing. I said I'm grateful that the sun is out and my cold is getting better. And you're just going to jot that down, whatever you said you're grateful for today. I know we're going a little bit over today, but every Monday as we do these, this intro took a little bit longer, but every Monday, this is going to be about 10, 20 minutes at the most, more like 10 or 15 minutes. So I encourage you to jump on every Monday. It's not going to be all this direction, okay? It's just going to be a short lesson and a short chat to get us ready for the week. So I want you to do this every day. Make this a habit, okay? You write your affirmation down 3 times. And once that becomes true, I want you to report back. I want you to send the whole team an email so we can celebrate with you. Some of you, this will happen quickly. Some of you, it will take longer. But I want you to write that affirmation down every morning 3 times. Then I want you to write 3 sentences or phrases or words that encompass how you envision that, what that affirmation looks like, and then write down what you're grateful for. That's how I want you to start your day, okay? Or at least start your work day. Last quick thing that we're going to talk about today is mindset. And that's what we're going to talk about really every Monday. I can provide you with all the education in the world, and EXP can provide you with all the education in the world. But to really succeed, it's up to you. And I would say probably a good 60% at least of this business is mindset. And what you focus on is what you feel. What you feel is what you put out to the world, and what you put out to the world is what you get back. Okay. So we have to learn to change what we're thinking. Most of us do not naturally have a soundtrack in our head that is empowering and encouraging. Some of us do, some of us are very lucky. Most of us have to work very hard at that. I heard a great lesson by Mel Robbins. If you ever get a chance to listen to her podcast, she's fantastic. And she was talking about changing the soundtrack in our head when we're telling ourselves negative thoughts. A lot of times this comes from childhood, does not mean we had awful childhoods or that our parents did anything wrong. We all do what we know how to do. We all do the best we can. But a lot of times, think about how many times in your head a day you say something negative. I always was super negative, didn't realize it because I would say, well, I'm just a sarcastic person. If you are constantly having a response that is sarcastic in a negative way, it's negative. That's what you're putting out. You may not even realize it. I don't think we even can comprehend how many times negative thoughts go through our head and how it impacts what we do, especially in a commission-only position where it is up to us to get a paycheck, right? We don't automatically get a paycheck. For example, I had a wonderful childhood. My parents were great. My parents were very encouraging. But what I realized later on in life is there were many times that I considered my goals or dreams to be negative, because it was almost looked at as you can't make up your mind or you're just a dreamer. It very was how I grew up. It was very much, oh, Amy, what do you want to do when you graduate high school? You got to figure that out. You'd be a great nurse. You'd be a great nurse. You'd be a great nurse. Okay, I guess I'm going to nursing school. And I would talk about these other big dreams or goals, or I would say, oh, I want to start this business, or I have this idea. And it would kind of be like, okay, okay, but finish nursing school. You have to have something concrete. You have to have a plan. And my parents meant well, right? That came from a fear of wanting me to be safe or comfortable. You don't want to have to worry that your kids are in a position where they could fail. But the fact of the matter is, if you never take a risk, like you're going to fail at something. So I always had that in my head. And the second I would get a goal or a dream that seemed big, I would think, well, that's great, but I'm not the person to do it. Right. And then I ended up in a marriage, not my current one, but I ended up in a marriage where it was kind of the same thing. Like, just follow this path. Oh, you want to get into real estate? Oh, that's cute. Well, that'll be a fun hobby. Very few people make good money at real estate, but that will be a fun hobby if you want to do that. And I would come back excited and have all these ideas and dreams and goals, and I want to make 6 figures. Okay. But you really got to stay working at the hospital. You can do this on the side, but you got to stay working at the hospital. And then when that's constantly told to you or ingrained in your head, you start believing it. So what happens when I start reprogramming that, I luckily was able to meet somebody and be in a marriage now where the big dreaming was always encouraged. And that's kind of where I learned to work on my mindset and have coaches and that kind of thing. So it is not only training your brain to reprogram what is going through it, your soundtrack, but to figure out where that came from and have compassion. Unless you were abused or, verbally, emotionally, even then, most of the time, it's not somebody trying to hurt you and screw up your life and not give you motivation. So we all do the best we can, right? And it's usually cyclical. So if you struggle with stuff, I know some of you, when I met to talk about joining the team, you shared with me that, very personal things, why you wanted to do this, or, the kind of childhood you had, or you had to be an adult very early on. You never had the luxury of dreaming big or doing things for you. You were taking care of your parents. So now's the time to change that. We have to change the soundtrack that goes in our head. So when you have a negative thought about that you can't do something, or another common one that we do to our kids is, let's say you have a child that has been diagnosed with ADHD or ADD or whatever. And there's certain things that they do, like me, there's certain things that make it difficult for me to concentrate. And I will catch myself saying, well, that's my ADD. That's my ADD. Don't give yourself that label. You got to change that thought in your mindset. You guys are, whoever is listening to this today, you are all capable of succeeding in this career. And if you're not doing it right now, you need to take a very, very hard look at why that is. 99% of the time, it's our drive, it's our focus, right? Even if we want it really bad, we get busy with life, with kids, with spouses, whatever it is. You have to wake up in the morning, be positive, be grateful, show gratitude, and know that you are capable of this. Find your motivation, hit it hard, right? It doesn't mean you can't have a life too. So this week's assignment is to start writing those things down and really think about the thoughts that go through your head. And remember, what you focus on, you feel. If you don't have enough money to pay your bills right now, and you are constantly thinking about that, stressing about that, think about how it's making you feel. Do you think you're doing your best work? No. Focus on the positive. Change the way that you're sitting. Change the way that you feel. If you change your thoughts, you can change how you feel. You will be much more productive. I want everyone to have an amazing week. Go into it excited. You guys can all do this. You guys can all do this. Okay? I will talk to you all later this week. Have an amazing week. I'll see you next Monday.